So
Yeah.
$500 billion invested in the US, which is good. I also want to be like, obviously, duh. Like,
No kidding.
Be a little bit patriotic.
Fun. Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
I mean, like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like, were they not going to expand? You know, like, I don't even know what that means.
Right. Do you
like,
get a special pat on the back, or are you just telling us something you were already planning on doing so that you
Right.
seem pro-America?
Yeah.
But then there's also, and I know you probably talked about this already because you're always on the ball, but there was also this kind of semi-scandal that's cropped up in the last 24 hours that Apple had to say, oh, it was a bug that caused
Bigly.
the word Trump to be replaced with race, or no, the word racist to be replaced with Trump when you're dictating. Like, oh, we didn't mean to. It's just a bug, which also you want to be like, created by who?
Some employee did that. Some employee did that.
For
It was
sure.
just like, remember when Alexa was like, I cannot tell you who to vote for. And then when people are like, how should I vote for Kamala? Oh, there are many reasons to vote for Kamala Harris. It was like, what do you mean? I mean,
or wouldn't it not define like a man or woman at one point too? Like,
yeah, wouldn't do that. All this stuff is done by like little siloed teams inside of these big companies that don't actually have any real oversight until the public. Like, I believe firmly that like the stuff that Google did, where the stuff that Google did when they had the search results where it was like, find a Kamala Harris voting, booth area, and it was like the top result. And then when you do it for Trump, they wouldn't show those results.
Right.
All that little stuff, I believe you would have to be a moron to not think it had an effect.
Right. I think you're right. It obviously is, I think, reflective of internal conflict within the company. There's always going to be an ideological bent, and it just seems like Silicon Valley has a certain level of activism to it. They feel like there are people there who feel as though their view of the world isn't just their better opinion, but it's something that needs to be promoted to fight whatever forces of evil they think are there. It just seems like Apple is almost splitting apart. I mean, they're trying to seem pro-America with this news about the huge investment. Although, again, like, how is that different from your original business plan? Then they get hit by this realization that they've got, like, I assume programmers who are trying to dunk on people who use the word Trump or use the word racist. And then today it seems like their stockholders are at odds with maybe their leadership in general. Do you think we'll see a downturn in Apple as a company, or do you think it's just riding out political turbulence?
Well, I think that you could look at Costco too. Like, their shareholders voted to keep DEI as well. So it's like, it's tough to say. I think saying your shareholders voted against it is a lot easier than saying you did. So I don't really know what that means. Like, how many of your shareholders actually voted? Was it the 2 people that own 55%? I think this is a really cowardly way to kind of go about it.
Yeah, it does seem like they're taking the odd way out. It also, I am not well versed in it, but their shareholders voted against it. But I wouldn't be surprised if internally there are still doors open to them to sort of do away with some of these policies. Like, maybe the policy stays on the books, but is really watered down, and so it's not enforceable anymore. I think that like, if you're an ambitious enough corporate enterprise and you really think that this DEI issue could potentially cost you hundreds of millions of dollars in legal settlements, like, you're going to protect yourself regardless of what the shareholders think.
Yeah. It's all about the money. It always is. It doesn't matter anything else.
They didn't care about...
Corporations exist to make money, nothing more.
Yeah, none of them thought Black Lives Mattered. None of them thought BLM was a thing. None of them thought DEI was a thing. They just knew that it was like the new hot, topic in society to talk about for extra money. Like, Styx is right. Corporations don't give a crap. And we see that, very clearly right now with the way they're reacting to the Trump presidency. Like, ooh, Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos are suddenly MAGA. Like, what? It's very, very very obvious why they're saying this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
What
a political
happens?
game.
What happens is they think that they can make money. So if they can make money by being woke, they'll be woke. If they can make money by being unwoke, they'll be unwoke.
Mhm.
It's formulaic.
Mhm.
It's just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the dictation thing is very, it was weird because the story didn't really, I mean, it blew up in mainstream media, but didn't blow, like I did a YouTube video on it, people didn't care. That was very weird.
There's probably a reason for that.
Yeah. The whole thing is very, very weird. But I don't know. Can Trump sue for this kind of stuff too? Like you wonder. I'm hoping that you would think that he could, especially with the racist Trump thing. Like you'd be pretty obvious.
But, I mean, would the lawsuit be successful?
Yeah. Is it worth the
yeah.
time
Look
and
at-
energy
look
and
at-
money you have to put into it?
Yeah, look at the federal courts and stuff. He should focus on other things. There are bigger issues to tackle.
Right.
He should let people like us tackle this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. But also, ultimately, if you don't place a price on this stuff along the way, it's going to keep happening. And, I think he basically won that lawsuit with ABC. And, these other lawsuits that he's going to push, I don't think it takes much of Trump's actual capacity to file a lawsuit. He's got 1 million lawyers on the books. And, if Apple has to pay $500 million, they settle out of court for $100 million, I'm okay with that. I'm especially okay with, Trump voters knowing where they give their money. By the way, maybe chill out on the moral grandstanding, Apple. I mean, you have little children slaves making your phones.
Right.
I think I'll just.
Well, that's
you
part
have
of their
literal suicide
DEI
nets.
initiative, Jeremy. That's part of the way
Right.
they incorporate
You
diversity.
have literal suicide nets outside of your factories.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really gonna be too interested in what the corporation has to say about what's good and what's bad.
And I don't know that. I mean, I guess similar to Amazon, there will be some people who are morally like, I do not like Apple. I oppose what they do. I'm not going to have an iPhone. I'm not going to buy Apple products, whatever. But they're actually probably the minority. To get fully away from Apple products can be fairly difficult. And so at a certain day, like they're just this unethical beast that will change with the cultural times as they see fit. And it doesn't seem like you could just like boycott them out of existence, over something like this Trump racist.
Right.
Speaking for myself, I've never used an Apple product in my life.
Me either. It's pretty easy to avoid.
I used to. Well, the only Apple product I ever used was my iPhone. But then, if I worked in like an office and they had Apple computers, it's not like you have the option to be like, I don't want to use this. Like there are certain circumstances where it becomes difficult to avoid. Yeah,
you're not wrong. I mean,
Apple and Google have formed a duopoly at this point.
Right.
With the App Store and many other things. That's something that needs to be addressed, by the way.
Android
what
is no better.
Should be done?
They need to break them up, like 100%. Or maybe not break them up, but they need to we need more competition.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you believe in capitalism. Well, then enforce capitalism. Why is it that these two companies are capable of forming this duopoly?